Okay, it's 4 o'clock. I call the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Service Committee meeting to order. First of all, may I have the motion for the minutes? Move, second, and call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. Next meeting will be May 28th, 4 o'clock at the same place. Is there any addition or deletion from the agenda? Seeing none, so we go to the presentation. So Mandy, and you're going to talk about the National Volunteer Week.
Thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here to talk to you guys about National Volunteer Week. So National Volunteer Week took place last week, April 14th to 20th. The theme for this year's event was Every Moment Matters. Throughout the week, we celebrated the valuable contributions of community volunteers who have helped make Richmond a vibrant community. Events included volunteer lunches at Canby Community Centre and at the Minoru Centre for Active Living, and city facilities displayed their recognition banners throughout the week. The video you are about to see was created to recognize and celebrate those who contributed more than 55,000 hours of their time to various events, programs, and services within Richmond. So without further ado, please turn your attention to the screens.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Brody, Mayor of the City of Richmond, and this week we want to recognize the many thousands of Richmond volunteers who generously devote their time, expertise, and enthusiasm to serve the people in our community. In 2023, City volunteers dedicated more than 55,000 hours to various events, programs, and services right across Richmond. And those are just some of the many who help others. Volunteering brings the community together. Whether you spend time helping at a local event, serving at the library, or engaging in a neighborhood crime prevention program, you are playing a vital role in preserving our high quality of life. My sincere thanks goes to each and every one of you for helping make Richmond such a great community in which to work and to play.
Thank you to all of our volunteers for sharing so many moments with us and for making every moment matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat. 谢谢.
多谢.
Mutchakra.
Arigato.
Gracias.
Danke.
Danwan.
Merci!
Thank you, and happy National Volunteer Week.
Wow, we have to say thank you as well, to the volunteers. So any questions or comments? Carol?
Thank you very much. A great video. You know, 55,000 hours, that's just amazing. Do you still have like a matchmaking service where basically people fill out a questionnaire to try to figure out what would be the best fit for them as a volunteer? Remember, it was kind of a survey thing.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, I'm not aware of us having that program right now, no.
Okay, because it used to be where you would fill out this questionnaire and then it would, like the things would pop up that this could be a good fit for you. No, okay,
No.
look into that.
Andy?
Thanks, and through the chair, thanks. That was inspirational, actually. I thought I'd just mention one thing, too, in connection with volunteer work in Richmond, is one of our residents, Lauren Sly, went to Ottawa last week and received national recognition for volunteer work, and he's involved in a lot of the groups that you showed on the video, too, so I think it's worth mentioning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good. Bill?
Yeah, thanks very much. Actually, very effective. Who put the video together? I thought holding the slide, if you wish, I may call it that, the frame, with the contents was extremely effective. Was that done by our media people across the way?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, yes, that was our media lab, and our program manager in marketing in community services, Lester de Guzman, he guided that process and worked with them.
So the volunteers did that again. Mr. Chairman, I'm hoping that maybe at the next council meeting this can be shown. I think it'd be worthwhile showing to the community, and any other things to add to a report along that line. Okay, good job. Thank you.
Why not? Yep, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the other items. Number 1, the designated BMX track and pump track facilities. So anything to add to the report?
To the chair, nothing to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Michael?
Thank you. Through the chair to staff, my question is just kind of related to the chosen tracks that you kind of compared in your study. I think it's on our map, it's on page 34 there. So just kind of looking at like proximity to existing ones, you didn't choose like the one in Ladner, I think Holly Park. There's one in Burnaby. Is there just a reason why you chose the ones that you did? Yeah.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, in part that was due to the staff people at the various facilities that we were able to get a hold of to find out more details about the operating models and specifics around those, and then looked at really just 2 sort of exemplary models within the Lower Mainland, so beyond just proximity, I'll say.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I'll just, no other questions, just I'll give some comments now then. Yeah, so I appreciate the report. I remember when this was brought up, it was before I had gone to either of our two tracks. But now with my daughter excelling in her Strider biking, we have explored them, and she does way better than I could imagine she would at that age. So I also, when I read the description about the BMX track and how it's a bit more of an inclusive club run, there's times where it's not open to the public, and the associated cost and maintenance of that higher standard BMX track, it seemed to me that wouldn't be kind of what we need next, and I do appreciate the acknowledgement in the report that East Richmond or maybe even South Richmond might be more suitable for the next location of some type of a cycling facility in the city. So I appreciate the recommendation and the option to kind of measure the future demand or need for it, because as it's mentioned, we just went through the sport facility needs assessment, and it wasn't something that was a flagged need in the city. So, and yeah, I don't think in the 5 years I've had any letter asking for it to be brought forward. So yeah, I appreciate all the work you put into that. So thanks.
Very good. Laura?
Thank you. Through the chair to you. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Wolf's comments. Thank you for the report. And I was just curious. I wasn't on council at the time that this referral was made. So it's such a specific request to look at a designated BMX track. Did it come from a delegation, or do you remember, or were you on council at the time, or did it just come from an idea?
Todd?
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, it was in follow-up to some of the discussions we were having on the most recent pump track out by Hamilton, and I believe it was Councillor Liu who brought it forward.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Neat. Well, I think that the Garden City facility we have is fantastic, and the pump track's really neat. I know they're all really well used, and I also agree with the option that's presented, just monitoring. I'm wondering if now that the sort of unsanctioned wild area along the river there by Triangle Road is no longer accessible if the demand is going to go up now that we don't have that anymore, because the sports needs assessment was probably done before area was shut down. So definitely worth monitoring, and we'll see what comes of it. Thanks.
Good, thank you. This is a staff recommendation. Do you have a mover? Move, second. I call a question. Those in favor, oppose, motion carry. Moving on to number 2, aquatic instructor and lifeguard subsidy program update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing further to add, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions? Bill?
Yeah, thanks very much. I think I seconded the motion to look into this, and I'm very happy with the report coming through. Maybe you're not going to like what I'm going to say. Is this enough money? We're only going to, train 20 lifeguards, et cetera. I feel very strongly about this, and as you well know, I think every child should learn to swim and be water wise, et cetera. And I've always supported swimming, even though I'm almost drowned at the UBC pool. But that's because I was not a swimming athlete at the time. But I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm just wondering, I'd like to see us do more. I'd like to see us have more lifeguards, and will this be repeated once we get through this first wave of people?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, we are confident that this is enough money to take us through to the end of this year, and the additional level that's being requested, that will be requested with the 2025 budget process, should absolutely be enough for an additional year. Should the funds become depleted sooner than we're expecting for this year, we could certainly explore other funding options and continue to assess the need for additional subsidy candidates.
All right, I appreciate that answer, but and it was a good answer, but I'm going to give you a better one. I don't think it should be an additional level. I think it should be a base funding. It should be in as part of our aquatics program. And if you haven't got the money, I know where there's some money you can get. So I expect we'll have a report for the next year, and let's get on with it. I really think this is a very, very important component in there, and I think we need to train as many lifeguards as we can. They're not enough.
Very good. So, Michael?
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the update and the recommendation to continue on. My only question is, in the report it mentioned, I'll just read out the sentence. While there is no longer a critical shortage of trained lifeguards in British Columbia, the City of Richmond continues to be in need of additional aquatic instructors and lifeguards. So why is there no longer a critical shortage? Did it get solved by every municipality doing this at the same time? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yep, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, we have made significant strides since the pandemic in hiring additional lifeguards and are back to pre-pandemic levels. However, we are finding a bit of a shift in the workforce, and we are requiring additional lifeguards, a higher number than we would have required pre-pandemic for the same level of operating.
Okay, and then for BC-wide, is there still a high demand shortage in Vancouver? So there's still a risk that we're going to lose some of our trained staff to other municipalities? Or?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, I believe there could be a risk. We are hearing lifeguards are still in demand in other municipalities. One positive statistic from the Life Saving Society is that they're finding a significant increase in course registrations and certifications for individuals to become lifeguards or recertify as lifeguards. So there's some very positive statistics coming out.
Okay, great. And then, yeah, my only comment is when I'm waiting for my daughter's swimming lessons to be completed, I always note at Watermania, the heavy use of those back rooms and training exercises going on, and just they're very present every time I'm at the pool. So thank you.
Good, thank you. Andy?
Oh, thank you, and through the chair, thanks for the report. Just a little plug for lifeguarding. All three of our kids did it, and for anybody thinking about it, it is a great job and can lead into a career as well, and it's pretty well paid. So glad to see that it's successful. The one question I have is, when you look at the stats on page 4 of the report, or page 39 of our package, and you look at the number of people that applied and then who did the course and who completed the course successfully, I'm curious as to how that compares with the non-participants of this program, the people that are just going through generally. What's the kind of graduation rate like, if you want to call it that?
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, I don't have exact numbers in terms of the graduation rate or the completion rate. We do find that the completion rate is absolutely higher for subsidy candidates than for non-subsidy candidates, primarily due to the requirement for subsidy applicants to go through a SWIM assessment, as well as an interview process where their motivation, their willingness to complete all the courses, as well as an interest in a career or a job in aquatics with the City of Richmond specifically is assessed. And so that does contribute to higher completion rates as opposed to non-subsidy participants in the courses.
Yeah, that's excellent, because it is a demanding set of courses, so that's really good to hear. Thanks.
Carol?
Thank you very much. Through the chair, as a parent who had to pay for all those classes for my daughter to become a lifeguard, it's expensive. So I think it's great that these subsidies are now available, because they weren't when she was doing this. I noticed that this is also for aquatic instructors. Does this mean with these extra lifeguards that we will end up with more classes? Because all I hear about when it's registration time is I tried for 4 hours and I couldn't get through, and I couldn't get my kids into a swimming class. So how does this affect that?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, this absolutely would mean that we are creating more swim instructors. We did create 2 new positions in aquatics last year for more junior level candidates, younger candidates, to become a swimming instructor only. The courses that are required to qualify for that position are included in this subsidy program. And by virtue of creating more instructor lifeguards, they also teach swim lessons. So it's a really positive program.
So has this reduced the wait lists?
We are working very hard to increase the swim lesson sets that we're able to provide, and we have increased those swim lesson sets and continue to do so.
Good.
It is a priority for us.
That's good. Like, a lot less letters for us. Thank you.
Well, I just want to add my comments that this is a very positive report. And in the last few months, I received positive feedback from people in the community and in other cities. And a few months ago, I was attending the Metro Vancouver Board of Directors meeting, and a council from other city came to me and said, wow, Richmond is great, for having this program. So I think we got appreciated by people in the city and outside of the city. Okay, so the staff recommendation, can I move second question? Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. So moving on to item 3, manager's report. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Staff were asked to provide an update on the Hugh Boyd Community Facility and Fieldhouse project, which was identified by Council as a priority Phase 2 major facility project for 2016 to 2026 and has been budgeted for in the 5-year capital plan. I'm here to provide a brief update to the committee about the progress on the stakeholder engagement plan that was presented to Council in June 2023 for the development of a program to meet Council's direction for a community facility of up to 10,000 square feet. Since the presentation of the stakeholder engagement plan to Council, an architect has been hired and a building committee has been convened. The 13-member committee is reflective of the stakeholder groups that were previously shared in the June report with Council and represents various stakeholders and organizations with knowledge and understanding of local needs. We've held 3 workshops with the building committee with the goal to bring the project to a point where the program, location, and site orientation come together. Like with any project, confirmation of the program is foundational to this project. And what this means is that we are working to determine the size of each of the individual rooms and what kinds of programs and services are going to be offered within them to meet community needs. For example, the workshops with the building committee and review of research and data indicate the need for a program that supports and accommodates seniors' wellness programs focused on emotional, social, or cognitive elements, preschool and parent and tot programs, sports groups' daily use of the park, sports user group coaching and training clinics, and support for tournaments. With the goal to confirm the program, engagement with the building committee has focused on reviewing past work that's been done on developing program, defining user and community needs and priorities, and reviewing data and demographics, as well as identifying any gaps or missed opportunities. In addition, the committee has been reviewing possible siting and locations for the facility. So the workshops with the building committee have been going well, and we are close to getting to and reaching consensus. The program that we are confirming is supporting a facility of approximately 10,000 square feet, and based on our research and review of demographics, we think this will be a large enough facility to meet the current and future needs of the community. It will be well utilized and a welcome addition to the community. Our intent is to bring an updated program and preferred siting for this facility to you for council consideration at the PRCS committee meeting in June. I'm happy to take any questions.
Bill?
Yeah, thanks very much. I'd appreciate a written report, but and the 10,000 square feet is a decision council will have to make at the time when we have a look at it, whether it can be bigger or not. That was the original envision way back when. But I did have a question on the membership committee. And thank you for outlining what you were doing in it, because those are some of my favorite, my pet peeves to cover. Who do we have from the Musqueam band on the committee? I just wondered who the person would be from their committee, et cetera. Do we have a name? I'd be interested.
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the stakeholder groups that are on the building committee are those that were presented to council in June 2023, and a Musqueam band representative was not identified at that time.
Okay, I don't know whether we can, Mr. Chairman, but I would make a motion that we have a representation from the Musqueam community, and I'd even suggest a name. Some of us know a Mary Point, or whoever chief would have it, but I really think we need to have somebody from the Musqueam on all our committees vis-a-vis what we are doing, everything from YVR to whatever. I think we are, it's not your fault, it's our fault. We didn't do it at the time in 2023. So I don't know if I can make a motion this day or not that we include committee go back, or staff go back out and request the Musqueam First Nations to appoint a representative to the building committee. Because obviously we want to use that as well.
I think we can do that after Carol, when some comes up.
All right.
Very, very popular park. Will there be plans for public bathrooms?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, yes. That is one of the program priorities.
That's the answer everybody wants to hear. Okay. And I was also wondering about the timeline. This has taken quite a long time. I mean, we're just about a year for this process. In order to get the ball rolling, what do you imagine the timeline would be?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we are currently working on developing a high-level timeline to better predict the next steps in the project, and that will be presented in the June report.
Okay, and then we can expect that report when?
In June.
June, excellent, thank you.
Okay, great. So, Bill, going back to you.
I just move that we request staff to reach out to the Musqueam community to appoint a member to the building committee of the Hugh Boyd building.
Okay, move, seconded. Any further discussion? Michael?
Thanks. I believe at the time of the decision to go ahead with the field house, we didn't have an Indigenous relations manager on staff, which we do now, and I'm not sure if it's in their portfolio to connect with existing building plans. Does staff have any comments on that?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, they
our Indigenous Relations Manager, their role is to help us build relationships and to help us garner connections with them. So we will certainly work through that manager to reach out to Musqueam and to go through the appropriate protocols, but they would not be the representative.
Right, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thanks.
Is that perhaps, we can vote for this, suggestion, this motion, but further to that, I think perhaps we can begin to look at, what kind of membership we should have, in other committees or working groups to include First Nation person or persons. But at this time, I think we are just voting on this particular position or, invitation. But, further down the road, I think perhaps we should look at inviting the First Nations to sit on some of committees or, working groups. Okay?
Assuming we'll get an update.
Right.
More in June or whatever it was.
Right. Okay, so got a question? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carry. And any further report? Yes. Oh, Jason?
Nothing on the ban?
Not yet. Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. I'd like to provide a brief update on the number 3 Road Bog Park. During our last PRCS committee meeting on March 26, 2024, the report titled Number 3 Road Bog Park Proposed Enhancements was presented for consideration. After some discussions, the report was referred back to staff with a number of directions. For example, to review potential west entry improvements through the parking lot with various suggestions on details, to analyze possibilities with budget impacts for 2 additional options through the north side of the existing park, to install immediate measures on site that redirect cyclists appropriately, to prioritize the 2 newly requested options and report back to committee in May. Prior to March committee meeting, a number of preliminary safety measures, including barricades and signs, were added to the bog park with the intention to raise awareness on safety, as well as to slow cyclists through the park. Since receiving your referral, we have added new and more robust temporary barriers and enhanced interim signage through the bog park, as well as along the trail around the Crown Packaging site, public right of passage. Following additional discussions, staff are further reviewing existing site conditions and enhancement options as outlined in the referral. Various considerations will be taken into account with respect to safety, parking lot access and impacts, potential conflict reduction, sensitivity around the riparian management area, tree impacts and allowances within the dike structures, etc. Secondary to the referral, staff will also be looking into the right-of-way around the Crown Packaging site for potential improvements. Currently, we are reviewing our enhancement options with the target to bring forward a report to the next PRCS committee in May. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Michael?
Yes, thanks. So in hopes that in May we can make a decision and move on, will staff be working with some of the noted user groups between now and the May meeting? So, for example, the large petition of dog walkers, will they be reached out to for some form of consultation? What about hub cycling? Will them and other groups be connected by staff to then bring that May proposal or recommendation?
I think Todd wants to respond.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, in follow-up to the last time we brought this forward to committee, there was a number of additional responses from the public and the various user groups, I'll call them, that have come forward. We do have a number of delegations already lined up for the May 28th PRCS meeting, and typical to our normal process, we will be reaching out to the petition group as well as some of the other interested parties with the reports in advance, so they have awareness before committee.
Okay, very good. Okay. Okay, no other questions? You have one? Bill?
Yeah, I have another referral. Yeah, as you well know, our banner program was most successful. And extremely well received in our community. I mean, when you look at the number of applicants, et cetera. I have a referral to staff on behalf of the Highway to Heaven Committee on number 5 Road. The referral I'd like to make is that staff examine the propriety of possibly putting banner stanchions on the Highway to Heaven route from Stevenson Highway to literally Blundell on the east and west side for the possible insertions of at least a few banners and examine that. Because we have the banners all over in other places, the committee from Two Road Bridge to Steveston, et cetera. We don't have anything in East Richmond, and we might even want to do it in Hamilton too. But the idea of looking at East Richmond, but in particular, is a request from the Highway to Heaven Committee, because they'd like to have the beautification too of what they see. And I'm not, I went out there and I counted, there were 34 stanchion or telephone poles, light posts between Steveston Highway and Blundell, another 10 to Bridgeport, and on the other side, there's 34 on the west side. I'm not saying put one on every post or anything like that, but even a half a dozen along the way or whatever would look very nicely along that. So ask staff to formally look into it.
Okay, maybe I want to ask staff, what are we doing on number 5 Road in terms of street banners?
Nothing. That's why I'm asking.
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, we'll go back and talk to our engineering partners. My understanding is that the infrastructure on number 5 Road currently does not support the installation of banners, but we can go back and work with our engineering team and evaluate whether or not, confirm whether or not that's true and what the cost impact would be to either modify or put in additional stanchions.
Okay, I appreciate that because I know the Highway to Heaven people would contribute too. And there are everything from steel light fixtures to other traffic posts to wooden posts. So, and I'd like to know the cost of putting a post in there if indeed they wanted to fund it themselves. I don't know, like a post for a banner. There must be a cost to that. And if we could find out what that is too, you never know what might happen. Thank you.
No, I just want to ask, is it sufficient that, instead of having a motion, we just refer to staff to get
That's
more
what I'm referring to staff.
to ask for more information instead of telling.
That's what I want to report on.
Okay, very good. So move, is it second? Okay, second by Michael. Michael?
Yeah, or just a comment. I'm in support of this, definitely adding banners to kind of all neighborhood regions would be more equitable. And just to note, Hamilton did get some, I think it was about 2 years ago, and they're on that high street of Gilly. So they were added. I don't know if there's any other locations that have been added since then, but maybe it'll come in the report. Thanks.
Carol?
Just a question to Councillor McNulty. I think it's a great idea to put banners on 5 Road. It would make it much more visible. But do you think that they would prefer to have some kind of recognition of the special, Highway to Heaven area instead of just a banner for, birds or whatever?
That's coming.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
coming.
So maybe we
Small steps to start with because they'd love,
Yeah.
we've suggested over there an arch. That sort of thing, et cetera. But let's get, if we can get
Well, maybe
banners first and then we can put the rest together.
Okay, so
Thank
start
you.
with the banners and then take it to the next level down the road, because it's very, we've been nominated numerous times for awards for the Highway to Heaven. Nowhere else is anyone aware of where all these different religious groups can coexist the way they do on number 5 Road. It's actually the thing in Richmond I'm most proud of.
Well said.
Well, maybe, I would suggest to staff that in the report, perhaps, not just focusing on number 5 Road, but perhaps we include a general report about our street banner distribution, or, the program, how many do we make and, where to put them and, how do we make that kind of decision? So in the report, bring back those information on top of what Councillor McNulty mentioned about number 5 Road. Okay?
Wide open.
Very good. So I call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carry. So any further questions, suggestions? Seeing none, may I have a motion? No, wait, Carol?
I just have a question of staff. I understand that the Miniru Chapel is up for renewal for their contract with the operator. And I was wondering if we could get an up-to-date report on the revenue that they've paid to the city of Richmond and basically the parts of the contract that explain how they do their pricing, because I did have some complaints this week, and I wondered if we could get an updated report on that. And when is that contract up for renewal? I believe it was May.
Can you stop?
Yes, absolutely. We can provide some background on the chapel operations and revenue via memo. I have to double check this, but the contract is up for renewal in 2025. I think it's May 2025, so not this May, but next May. But we will be starting the process to look at the operations well in advance of that.
Okay, I look forward to that information. Thank you.
Okay, good. It's come back in the form of a memo. Okay, thank you. So no further questions? May I have motion to adjourn? So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
We want to stay.